I've spent the past few months building up this area, and today it's time to finally explain the full lore. I hope you enjoy. There's nothing wrong with conflict, thought Frowls, but not when it leads to this. As he inhaled a shallow, rattling, grating breath, ash filled his lungs. Fire raged around him, and he shouldn't stop it. The wizards had become too powerful, too obsessed of what could be, and not what should be. Frowls could have joined them, another young, powerful wizard forcing nature to do his bidding. But he didn't. Frowls chose to run, a traitor to his clan, sure, but not to morality. Many years passed on, cold winters with that type of unrelenting, all-consuming, freezing snow. The cold might have threatened him, but the earth always protected him. Perhaps this wasn't coincidence, but he didn't think about it too hard. Frowls pressed on. In idle moments he dreamed of a life of strength, but that wasn't him. He wasn't a man like the rest. On a crisp morning, one that bit at his fingertips, making the grass under his boots hold for a fraction longer than normal, with ice crystals that bring strength yet fragility, a steady crunch reminding him that he too can harm the world around him. But it's insignificant compared to what he has seen. A small forest caught his eye, and just for a moment he didn't understand why. It was like any other, and yet a growing warmth that momentarily made him forget how thin and ragged his robe was filled his soul. A thought flashed across his mind. Home. He built structures, but not like he had been taught. They were modest and built with local rock, and when the vines grew, he didn't remove them. But the problem with wizards is that they leave a trace of themselves behind, small bulbs of magic that don't fade with time. Humans haven't changed. Greed fuels conflict, and even without the power of old Earth, they still destroy. Some want to extract power, but fail. Others attempt to live in harmony with it, but none can harness it. Today, another truck rolls on, ignorant to what they're uncovering, but still lusting for something. It is different, however. This is not the power of wizards, or the power of nature, or the power of man. It's the power of this. Alright, people, I really hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, make sure you scroll down below and hit that subscribe button. But yeah, anyway, I've got some building and planning and stuff to do, because obviously at the end of that I showed the frame of green, and to give a tiny bit more explanation about that, it's basically that this whole area is about mining out some kind of green-based magical sci-fi thing, and obviously we need to build that. So that is what this middle structure that I've been teasing since almost the beginning of this project is going to be. And I guess the most important thing to think about is the position. We need to find the dead center of this, because obviously they're going to be digging around the middle. And then we also need to think about the height and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, this is a really flat area, and I don't want it to feel very flat. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the structure stick just a little bit above what would be considered to be like ground level, and I'm just going to assume that they've dug through a mountain, which I did when I dug this hole, so, you know, makes sense. Yeah, so we're going to have some kind of structure here, and then it's also going to disappear into the ground, which is obviously why they need to dig so deep into the floor. And so we need some kind of industrial, but also more like mechanical sci-fi, if you know what I mean. And it's going to be really, really cool, but of course we need to do some planning, and actually do some digging, because I think this is an opportunity to expand my own home. If I go over here and quickly drop into here, I believe a couple of episodes ago I talked to you guys about the expansion to my storage and how I'm now storing shulkers kind of in the floor, and it's a complete pain, to be honest. This is so dense with shulker boxes, I can never find anything. It's annoying. And obviously this room is just a mess, so yeah, we're gonna create some kind of tunnel system, which is gonna have a much better storage system. Still manual. I won't convert to automated storage yet, because I still can't be bothered. So yeah, that's gonna be a cool improvement, but of course that means that we need to start with planning and digging. And I think, to be honest, I've been doing quite a lot of thinking, editing, doing all of that for the previous segment you just saw. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do some digging. I've already mined so much in this world, it's actually silly, but we can do a little bit more. Why not? Might as well do a little satisfying time lapse. So yeah, let's go. Alright, let's take a little bit of a break. Yeah, we've been mining for a while. Well, I have, you've been watching. But I am actually really happy with the progress that we've been making. Obviously, I've drawn out these circles. And the thing about these circles is that they're not just any arbitrary size. These circles are specifically picked because they are the size of the circles that are present, or the tunnels that are present, underneath Finn's base. Now, the thing about Finn's base is that it actually featured in the lore segment, and I think there's a opportunity to maybe have a link or something like that. So I might as well make it as easy as possible and make our tunnels the same size. It's also just a good size, so why not? As you can see, I've actually got the other 3 tunnels to do, but yeah, I guess I will do a slightly more interesting time-lapse of them, because I'm pretty sure the first time-lapse is kind of weird, because digging out big squares is really hard. Especially when I didn't use scaffolding for most of it. Anyway, let's go and dig the rest of these 3 out, and then we can start planning what they might be used for. Alright, let's go. Alrighty people, we now have 4 tunnels, very successful. The next thing I want to do is I want to get some labels going, because I feel like I get very disoriented down here, like, oh, I've got 4 tunnels, where do they go, what are they doing, no idea. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get 4 signs, and I'm going to figure out what I want to do with them, but I actually haven't decided yet, so let's decide. I think, as I said before, I want at least 1 dedicated to storage, maybe 2, maybe a bulk storage and a normal storage. The only thing with splitting your storage system is there is always the danger of not moving all your stuff across and then having to constantly move between 2 systems. I think that's something that I'll think about more in depth later, but I do think storage is something important here. I think I want at least 1 of these tunnels to directly connect into a bigger tunnel system, and that is something that will be discussed more in the future with the wonderful Finn, who already has tunnels, as I've mentioned before. And yeah, I think I also maybe want to think about decoration, because these are very, very cool out of rock, but of course they need some they need to look interesting. And I think the best way to do that is to choose between having multiple styles. So the sci-fi lore thing above, is this all going to be one style? Or are we going to have one that's a bit different, or a couple that are a bit different? Because sci-fi doesn't really fit with Finn's tunnel, so if I decide to connect, then it would have to have some kind of transition or change, so that might be quite interesting to think about. But yeah, I guess I'll get some signs down and have a proper think, and hopefully this place can slowly develop. I've made a decision. Tunnel number 1 is going to be storage, and on the opposite side, I want more. Next to that, I would love to have a tunnel to my neighbour Finn. As I said before, Finn's doing tunnels, so why not join up? This one will be a pure decorative one, which means it's basically a ton of fun to put a bunch of stuff together for it. And then finally over here, train station. the train project has been mentioned multiple times on this channel, and I think the most important part of it that we've shown so far is the big amount of digging that I did in the main station area by spawn. The thing is that it's been a while since I've explained it, so I thought I'd get the wonderful genius Fern behind it all to come and have a chat, and he also saw this for the first time, so that's pretty cool. Let's go. Alrighty people, so here we are at the location of the main station, and I also have the brains behind the operation, Fern. Hello.
Hello.
So yeah,
Hey
I
there.
just quickly explained to my audience what this area is, and I guess, do you want to explain the point of the small stations?
Oh yeah. So the whole concept's gonna be that there's gonna be a main station here, which I'm in the process of designing, and then we're gonna have a whole network on the nether roof, which is gonna have all the complicated stuff like the intersections, which are going to determine which way you're going. But the main point is that from here you can travel to anybody's base via their little stations, and they can travel here from their stations so that they can it's going to be faster than Elytra, meaning they can just hop in at their station, get here, and then if they want to go shopping they can leave, or maybe they can connect to somebody's else base and just go to a different direction. But yeah, it's like a big transport hub essentially.
So I already have built one of these stations at my industrial district, and it's very undecorated, fitting with the vibe of that place, but I want to do a more decorated one over at the project I've been working on earlier. I kind of want to show Fern what I'm doing, because he actually doesn't know what I've been working on, so I think we
Sounds
should
exciting.
head over.
I'm down to see.
So yeah, basically I had this idea to kind of have some extra things at my base, I guess, some extra storage, some extra places for different things, and one of those things I realised should, of course, be a station. And so we've got to fly down where this beacon is, and there's a lovely little hole in the ground, and down
Wonderful.
here, if I can get that, down here, I've just
Oh damn.
been doing a tiny bit of digging, and I think one of these tunnels should lead to one of the stations, and I think
That
would
would be
pretty
really cool.
And the coolest thing about it is that because of how close proximity our bases are, not necessarily me and you, but especially me and LTP, we're very close together, and I think that we should share a station. And so if we
That could work.
look around and find which one I labeled train station, yes, this one actually moves in the direction of LTP a little bit. So by the time we get to the station,
Ooh.
we'll be kind of in between. And it
Oh,
should be
wait a minute.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is. I have no idea where he is, but yeah. Which way? Which direction?
He's the chess. You went to the chess room, didn't you?
I did go. I just don't know where it is. That's the thing.
Let me show you where we're going. Oh, that was a very lucky rocket being able to go straight up the hole.
Oh, I think I'm stuck here forever. Oh.
You okay
Hold on,
down there?
I need to aim. I need to aim properly.
Just stand on the beacon and go straight up. There we go. Yeah, we go up these stairs, and then over here. So all of this land on the other side of the river is actually owned by LTP. His front door is over by, right over here. But currently he's got a very modest base, but I know that he's wanting to do more, so having our station
that
kind
is
of
very close, yeah.
in between us is really, really cool. So, yeah, I guess that's what one of the things I'll be working on for the next few weeks. Pretty cool.
That is very cool.
I appreciate
I'm
your
excited.
time, genius of the train station. And, yeah,
Of course,
I've got some stuff to get on with.
That's exciting. Oh my god, I can't wait for this project to be finished.
It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so cool. Well, what's this then? Well, this is Finn's base, and this is the inspiration for the tunnels. And something that I like to do every now and again is literally just go and visit people. Finn's actually not online, but it doesn't matter. I can come over and have a look and kind of remind myself of what this place is like. You can see that it's very dominated by tough, which is pretty cool. I like tough. There's a coppery element. And yeah, that's really nice as well, because of course I've been building with copper with my industrial stuff. So I've almost got a gradient that I can work with. I can kind of move between tough and stone and copper to kind of morph our styles together underground. And I think that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I actually want to take a tiny bit of a break from normal Minecrafty things and actually talk about the chess tournament again. So there is a currently ongoing Whimsicraft chess tournament, and for those who have been following for a while, not much has been happening with it on my end. People have just been playing their games, and because I'm ahead with my games, we're kind of waiting for people to catch up. It's all good. But it doesn't stop me from having a game that I want to show you. I recently witnessed a game between Musha and Spaghetti, who are incredible members of the server, but they're not very incredible at chess. I do kind of feel bad for showing this off, but I have a feeling that it might not get shown too rapidly, and I think you guys need to appreciate the true genius of 300 ELO chess. So I'm going to jump to my analysis board and show you a very quick chess game. I promise it's not that long. Alrighty everybody, this is Musha versus Spaghetti. The game simply started with a very classic e4. This is the most common move, and in this tournament we've pretty much only ever seen e4. And then we immediately received f6 from Spaghetti. This is not a brilliant move because it just weakens the king. You can see how this diagonal here is extremely weak if I actually draw the arrow correctly, so we don't really want to do that. And Musha chose to attack the light squares, the weak light squares with the bishop. The computer is not convinced that this is the best move, but it doesn't really matter, and we see a knight coming out. That's alright, kind of attacks and defends some squares in the centre, here and here, that is all good. Then we see a check. Now, the computer isn't convinced by this check because, as you can see, it just wants to block. And that is what happens because it's the only move. And so now the computer just wants the queen to come back. It thinks that this is not a good place for the queen. But Mish decides to just pull it back a little bit. And now the eval drops. Yes, we can see that by bringing the pawn out, as the computer suggests, not only are we attacking the bishop, but we are also attacking the queen. And so this is the first blunder of the game. But Spaghetti does not see it. And so this is considered to be a miss by the computer. And then Mush doesn't see it again. And then this move once again is winning, attacking the bishop and the queen at the same time. And Spaghetti misses it, and also hangs a rook at the same time. Musha does not see that the rook is hanging, nor does he see that the queen is hanging, which is another mistake. And then Spaghetti takes out a knight to attack the queen, which Musha fails to defend by blundering exactly the same strategy with the bishop. You can kind of see how this game goes. And then the rook simply moves, but that doesn't help Spaghetti's sadly rather terrible position. And then the knight is taken. The computer is again not convinced by this move because it doesn't stop the bishop queenie thing that's been happening this whole time. But Spaghetti takes back. Now this is considered to be a horrendous move by the computer, not only because it loses a bishop, but also because the queen is coming. And Spaghetti does in fact see that there is a free pawn here and takes it, but it doesn't help. The rook is under attack, and Spaghetti doesn't move it. Now the problem with this, as you can see, is that it's checkmate. And this is the single worst game that has been played in our chess tournament so far. This is so bad that chess.com decided that Musha played with 27% accuracy, which is not great, and it couldn't even decide what accuracy Spaghetti had played at. It wouldn't come up with a number. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you this rather interesting chess game, but we'll get back to some proper Minecraft now. Sorry, I had to. It's just crazy. Anyway, let's go. Oh my! I've just remembered my live reaction when Spaghetti played this. My live reaction. I couldn't speak because it was so late at night that they were playing. But oh my! I was just like covering my mouth, trying not to type in chat. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. Anyway, let's get back to some proper Minecraft. This is my block palette. So, what I like to do when I'm starting an entirely new project is to just lay out a bunch of different blocks, and it's kind of just like a representation of all the different things that I could possibly use whilst I'm working on it. And for something that's going to be green based, as you saw in the cinematic, I thought black was a pretty obvious choice to work with it. I think they're really interesting colours that come together. But then, of course, I need some greys or something like that to keep the industrial sci-fi vibe going. And then I included a creeper head because I thought it was funny. But I think this is pretty coherent in terms of like the different colours that we have, the different textures that we have. One thing I'm not so sure about is pale oak. I do like pale oak a lot, but I'm just not 100% sure about it. But yeah. In the last episode, I promised that I would finish off the shipyard area and add the final details. Unfortunately, because of how long that cinematic took, I was not able to get around to it, but I promise it'll be the first thing in next week's episode. And as you can tell by the tone of my voice, this is indeed the end. So people, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to all the fantastic stuff, and yeah, I guess I'll see you next time for some actual proper base progress rather than just a story. Alright people, bye everybody.